Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is At the Helm Sports. I'm your host, Derek Helm. Thank you for joining me for episode 146. Please be sure to follow and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave those 5-star reviews. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. In the comments section, let me know. Very simple. Who's going to win the Monday night matchup between the Jets and the 49ers? That's it. Who's your pick to win? As I said on the last episode, I am doing a $50 giveaway. All the rules for that are up on either my TikTok or at the Helm Sports on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So check out the rules there. Get a bunch of ways to get in, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. So check that out. I will be announcing the winner before the Monday night game. So definitely check that out. But it's time. You know, we went over basically week one for the Sunday slate. Dove into the early games for Thursday and Friday last week. Now it's time to preview the Monday night football game. Obviously, it's the Jets, so we had to bring in the resident Jet fan, Mike Carpanini. How we doing?
Boys, how are you now?
So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, due to some scheduling errors, we were not able to do the season preview. So, first, why don't we start there? What is your feeling about last year, and what are you expecting from the Jets this year?
I mean, last year broke me. I'm pretty sure we taped like after week one, so going into week, like I was just completely broken. And the Jets have broken me year after year after year after year. Like we've had, we've had Vinny years that hurt. We've had Chad years that hurt. We've had Mark years that hurt. I mean, we can go way the fuck back. There was Neil O'Donnell years. There was Boomer Esiason years. There was, Browning Nagel years. But last year just broke me. Like I was full blown dead inside at 4 minutes, not even 4 minutes. What were we, 90 seconds into the season? Like whatever it was. I could not, and I still can't, but like not Mark. Jesus, I'm still broken. Zach Wilson was the starting quarterback last year. Like, that's not real life. Like, after the 2022 season, after everything that happened last offseason, like with the back and forth with Rodgers, like, is he coming? Is he not? Like, oh my God, and then, he went to, his little retreat thing, and then we eventually got it. We've never been so up, and then to just get it ripped away like 3-4 plays, it's still not real. It is still not fucking real. Like I don't know. I'm done. Like we did this for like 10 weeks after it happened last year. I don't want to do it again.
Fair enough. So what are you feeling for this year? Because we went through the schedule, and both Byron and I had them, I think, it was 12-5, I think. So what realistically do you think that this team is capable of, and how far can they go?
I'm so hesitant to get as high up as we were last year. Like just think back to this time last year. We were so like, oh my God, they're the best Jets team we've ever seen. Like, but I kind of feel that way again, and I don't want to. But like we've gotten better. Like, Breece Hall is now completely off of the injury. We added an actual legitimate wide receiver too. Like we're now, Lazard can kind of go back into his, give me a couple of like big third down catches a game and we're good here. Corley gets, I think really fits well into this. Like, I think 12 is kind of low. I see no reason there can't be 14 wins on this schedule. And that scares the living shit out of me. Like, I don't want to think that. I don't want to be a stereotypical Jets fan like all the fucking time. But like legitimately, like I really do think there are potentially like 14 wins on this schedule.
Yeah, there definitely are, because there were a couple toss-up games where I was like, we'll give them a loss. And I will say week 1 was one of the ones that I did give them a loss, and I could see them winning it. I mean, it should probably be a loss. They are the underdog, but we'll get into that. But I think a lot of it just basically comes down to obviously Rodgers' health, but also you don't necessarily need him to be vintage Rodgers. You just need him to be above average as a quarterback because we saw it last year. The defense is so good that they kept them in games single-handedly when Zach Wilson and Boyle and who was it, Trevor Simeon? I don't even remember who the hell was starting for the team at the end of the year. It was just a shit show. But basically, you just need above average quarterback play, and they could win 14 games. I could definitely see it.
I don't even think you need above average quarterback play. Like, give us stone fucking average quarterback play. I don't remember the exact fucking numbers because I'm not like into that type of shit like you guys. But I saw some kind of stat where like if we would have just scored 20 points a game, which is not a lot in today's NFL, like we would have won like 30 of our last 40 games or something fucking crazy like that. So like just give me bone average quarterback play and there's and Rodgers doesn't have to be old Rodgers to give me that. Like he can still sit back there and sling when he has to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually get to see it in a couple days. So Monday Night Football, they are heading to San Francisco playing the 49ers. And, these teams match up pretty well. The Jets, obviously, last year weren't great, 7-10, 29th in points per game. Points per game allowed, they were 12th. So obviously, as we said, much better on defense. In passing yards per game, they were 30th, second in passing yards allowed. So again, defensively, very good. 49ers were pretty damn good. Obviously, lost in the Super Bowl, 12-5. They were third in points per game, third in points per game allowed, fourth in yards per game passing, 14th in defensive yards per game allowed. Rushing yards per game, they were third, and rushing yards allowed, they were third. So definitely pretty good over there. Now, I could see, we've seen it from plenty teams where there's a Super Bowl hangover. And, Brock Purdy kind of looked like he got figured out at points last year. So I could see it potentially being a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. Then you add the fact that Ayuk has been not playing basically the entire preseason. Trent Williams not playing the entire preseason. So it's probably the weakest they're going to be all season. So I actually think the Jets have a good chance here. And I'm thinking about possibly betting them at plus 4.5.
Agreed. I think on paper, this is one of those games that, 49ers chalk this one up for a loss, but, we should get easier after that. Anyway, I think on paper, this is one that you look at and you say, this is a Jets loss. But I think you're like weird shit happens week 1. Like good teams come out rusty. I don't think it was maybe last year, maybe the year before. Chiefs lost to the Lions, week 1. One of those years. And yeah, the Lions were, up and coming at the time, like they were threatening being good at the time, but they weren't a good team, like yet, established good team anyway. So that wasn't a game that the Chiefs should have lost. I feel the same way about this game. This isn't a game that the Niners should lose, but I think this is very easily a game they can lose. Ayuk, like you said, missed almost the entirety of training camp. And, while I'm not super in love with the Jets front seven, like it is a very solid front seven, the secondary I have absolutely zero concerns about. Just let Sauce and DJ and Michael Carter just go back there and cover people. And I'm super not worried about passing games against us this year. So, if we can try to, maybe just funnel down to McCaffrey, I know that's a scary funnel, but it's not impossible. Like if McCaffrey beats you, he beats you. But what's a great game? Maybe not great game, but if you could hold McCaffrey to whatever, 115 all purpose, maybe even give him a touch or two, but then we lock down everyone else, that's a Jets win.
Yeah, and I think that you said it. Like they match up very well with the Niners as far as the secondary, as far as the defensive line attacking this offensive line. If you know, and you have Ayuk, who hasn't played a full preseason. Is he going to be able to play a full allotment of snaps? Same with Trent Williams. If Trent Williams is only out there for even 80% on those 20%, this defensive line could absolutely feast. So I think even a fully healthy Niners team, the Jets defense matches up pretty well with them. And then same goes for McCaffrey. He's generally in incredible shape, but do they really want to come out and give him the ball 27 times in this game? So we could see Jordan Mason mixed in. We could see McCaffrey not even be 100% if that calf actually is an issue. So I definitely think that the Jets are live here at plus 4.5. You know, as a Jet fan, I just keep telling myself, am I just being a homer with this pick? But the more I think about it, I really don't think so. I think they can definitely cover that spread. I love the fact that it's 4.5, and I think it's even possible they could win the game.
Yeah, I see no reason why, like you said, it's are we just being unreasonable? Because, I'm sure there are fans out there everywhere like this, but like Jets fans specifically, we get caught in this trap all the fucking time. Like, year after year, game after game, we get caught in this fucking trap. But, it feels good, like skeptically, yeah, because again, last year fucking broke me. It's just not the same. Like the fire inside me is kind of dead until hopefully maybe this year it can kind of get rekindled. But yeah, I don't see a reason why they can't win this game. And week one, like you would think Rodgers has, like, he's got to come out with a vengeance right now. Like he's got to come out and try to prove something. Like, yeah, that's just Rodgers as a dude. He's a douchebag at times. He's a fuck you kind of guy. So, I could see him having, a little bit extra, burn in his belly. He is a West Coast guy. So, that's going home again, opening day, I think I think outright is in play. Like, not let alone the 4.5. The fact that is over 3, like, you're spot on. That's a number, like, even people who aren't Jets fans should be kind of, licking their chops at. But I don't think a Jets win outright is off the table.
Yeah, it was funny. Last week, I was kind of sketchy and back and forth about it. And Jeff Feinberg had him on the show, and he was pumping air in the Jets tires. And, I was saying at the time it was 3.5, and I was worried about possibly the 3.5. And he was like, no, Jets outright. So it's even people that aren't Jets fans they're behind this team. Now, if you do want to bet them, it's plus 185 on the money line. San Francisco's minus 225. Spread is 4.5, total 43.5. So I think you can make a case for it. Now, as far as looking at what they could potentially do in this game, what do you think is realistic as far as a stat line for Rodgers in this one?
I mean, he's still Aaron Rodgers. Until further notice, and I know coming off the injury, he's still Aaron Rodgers. So any number is in play. Like, it's not impossible for him to go out there and throw for 415 and 3 touchdowns. Do I think that's likely? No, not even a little bit. I think a win is 260, 2 touches, and 1 interception.
Yeah, I could see that. And I mean, currently his odds. I mean, the other thing is too, when they get in close, Rodgers tends to want to throw the ball. So even if he only throws for 225, I could see him throwing for 225, 230, and 2 touchdowns. And his touchdown prop right now is plus money, plus 115 over 1.5. So I actually like that quite a bit.
Yeah, that seems more than good enough.
Yeah, so I think you can definitely make a case for that. As far as Garrett Wilson goes, it looks like his numbers have been pumped up quite a bit. I think he was his receiving prop was over 6.5, and it was like minus 135 or something. If my computer would allow me to look at the odds, that'd be helpful. But I do think he should get peppered. I think he should definitely get peppered with targets. It's just with a healthy Mike Williams, which it does look like he is going to be. Does that take away from Garrett enough that maybe you get a little worried about him hitting his overs? But I really don't hate it overall. So
I don't think so. I think Mike Williams is going to he's going to do wonders for Garrett Wilson. Like say what you want about Mike Williams, but when he is on the field, he has always been a productive receiver and a productive deep threat receiver. So if he can kind of just open the top of the defense up a little bit, let Garrett run his entire route tree, they're going to help each other. Like, Mike Williams is going to see single high safeties a lot because of Wilson, so he's going to feast. And then, they're going to have to respect Mike Williams at times where Garrett Wilson is going to feast. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I almost wish I didn't do this show because now I feel like I'm getting all fucking hyped up and it's just going to come back and kick me in the dick at some point. I was really trying to stay away from all this bullshit. But, you're going to make me talk about it. I'm going to get fucking excited about it. And, the fact that both of them are out there is just you cannot load the box. Like, Brees is just going to have a fucking field day. Like, there's just so many weapons out there, right? Aaron Rodgers has never played with a full group of weapons this good. Is that fair to say? Admittedly, he's like, 49 years old? But, like, fact of the matter is, this is the best offense he's ever played with.
Probably all around skill position wise, I would say so. But some of those Packer teams, you can definitely say they were pretty talented. So I don't want to say far and away it's the best team, but I will say skill position wise, it's definitely up there. Now, I don't even remember the number I said because, like I said, I was trying to open it up on my computer, but Garrett Wilson is over 5.5 receptions, and that's juiced all the way to minus 140. So that's probably going to be going up soon. But if you wanted to lay the juice, I definitely could see him having at least 6 catches in this game. So don't necessarily hate that. Total yardage is 69.5, and that's at minus 110.
Hammer that over. What's 79?
Yeah, you figure if he got 60, 79.5 is plus 135.
I like that.
And if you wanted to take a chance and just say he gets over 100 yards, that's actually plus 295.
I was going to say plus 300, and that I think that is safe enough. Like I think that is safe enough.
And I like Garrett Wilson a little bit more in this game than I think I do Brees. Now, I do still think that Brees could be productive, but I just think the way that this game could potentially go, I'd be a little bit more, feel a little bit better at betting overs for Garrett Wilson. But I do think that the Rodgers number makes sense at plus money at over 1.5 passing touchdowns. So I might go there. As far as the Niners side goes, I mean, you can make a chance that, or make a case that you could bet unders on these guys, Ayuk's not crazy though. He's only at 59.5 yards, but like I said, if he's not playing a full allotment of snaps, we've seen where this offense can focus mainly on Debo, focus mainly on McCaffrey. It could be a Kittle game. I would assume with this defense, you would want to target the middle of the field more than the outside. So maybe it is a Debo and Kittle game. So if you wanted to go under there, I think it could make sense. I will say I do worry a bit about Debo. He's only 48.5, and that's at plus 105. So Debo might be an over. I think if you were looking for a San Francisco side and you wanted to take an over there, I think because of the Jets defense, that number is a little bit lower. And just with his run after the catch ability, I could definitely see that happening. It is a little bit sketchy anytime you're betting overs on any of these guys, though, because as I said, any given week, it could be any one of them. As I said, as far Go ahead.
I think the safest pass catcher for San Francisco is honestly McCaffrey. You're getting plus money at only 40 yards receiving. And like I said, that front seven, if you're going to nitpick the Jets defense, other than Quincy Williams, that linebacking core is old a little bit. So it's now if Quincy's got the job there of covering McCaffrey, he can run with them for the most part. Nobody can really run with McCaffrey, but for a linebacker, Williams can run with them. But I think 40 is super safe on the receiving side for McCaffrey.
Yeah, it's not bad. I would say the Jets are a little more susceptible with the rushing, but it's 79.5, so maybe you don't necessarily want to go there. You could take the McCaffrey receptions over 4.5, but I don't know. I think if you're gonna go, you're probably right. It's probably the receiving yards there. And as I said, if they were apprehensive in supposedly he was saying the calf wasn't a big deal, and they wanted to hold him out, just precautionary. But if that's the case, they could be precautionary. It's the first game of the year. It's out of conference, so maybe they hold him back a little bit and don't give him 25 touches off the jump. So I actually could see under on his rushing attempts too. 16.5. It's minus 107. That's not terrible. That's not out of the range of possibilities. So just some ideas of some props and some ways you can attack this game here. But anything else stand out to you?
Not necessarily in this game, but just as a I guess going forward, can you see? And I know this is not what you would think of as a Shanny-led team, but can you see San Francisco kind of taking the Kansas City approach where it's just, the regular season is just get us through it, like we need to just stay healthy for the playoff run?
I think part of that happened last year. There was just games where it was like they had letdowns and it was like, what the hell team was that? So I could absolutely see it. And as I said, especially week one, it's your Monday night opener at home, but you have a lot of guys coming in that may not even be 100%, haven't been fully acclimated to game speed yet. Do you really want to push everybody that much week one? So yeah, because the goal ultimately is a Super Bowl for this team. It is Super Bowl or bust, and their window is closing with they just had to pay Ayuk, had to pay Trent Williams. They're gonna have to pay Purdy, so it's definitely it's go time for them, and it's now or never almost, because this roster might not be together forever. So I think it's a good point you make. They really might not care very much and might be focused a lot more on the postseason.
Especially in their division. Like, who really scares them in their division? Like, I'm not a Kyler fan, so Arizona just does not bother me. Like, also not really a big Geno fan, so Seattle doesn't scare me all that much. And then there's the Rams. Like, yeah, Stafford, he can still throw it around a little bit there, but Stafford isn't. I think he got his one, and he's more or less done. Like the Niners can probably win this division at 9 wins, maybe 10. And 10 used to be a lot, but with a 17-game schedule, 10 is just a couple games over 500, really.
Yeah, I definitely think that the changes to the coaching staff in Seattle are going to make a big difference, but that could be more long term. I think offensively they'll take a step forward this year, but I don't see them really challenging for the division. You said it, Stafford, basically this is just, he's on his way out, and that team is really fragile health wise. If they have a couple injuries, I see them taking a huge step back. Arizona, same thing. I see them taking a step forward offensively, but defensively, they could still be one of the worst in football. So I don't see them winning very many games either. So it's a very good point you make. Is the Niners, their path strictly to the postseason in this division, they probably don't have to necessarily go full bore. Now, it is the NFL. On any given week, you have to show up. You can't just sleepwalk through games, but their eye is definitely on the big picture here. But it's week one. We already have football. It's very, very exciting, and we have to wait an extra day to watch the Jets, but hopefully it's well worth it. And obviously, knock on wood, it probably can't get worse than last year.
It can't. No, like even sure, records wise, it could get worse. Like I was alive for a 1 in 15 year, but there was nothing worse than last year. Like it was just you. I remember driving home from work on week one because again Monday night. So I'm driving home from work, just so pumped that I got out of work late. I vividly remember this. I got out of work late and I hit traffic on 287 coming home. And most of the listeners aren't going to know, but like you get it coming north on 287, whatever. I'm fucking freaking the fuck out. I'm like, this is like the most important Jets game in a fucking decade, and I'm stuck in traffic. I'm fucking flipping the fuck out. I pull in my garage, like I run upstairs, like I walk into Rogers running with the American flag and everything. Yeah, fuck yeah, football, yeah. Like I made it home in time, everything was great, and like literally 12 minutes of real time later. Like real time, 12 minutes, like a minute and a half of game time. It just like I wanted to kill myself. Like full like not legitimate, wife, kids, like, not really killing myself. But you have that fucking like, oh my God, like what the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? This cannot be real.
Yeah, and it sucked too because they won that game. Like that was if you take away the Rodgers thing, that is an incredible win. The fashion that they won in, like it should have been elation, but instead it was just like, yay, they won.
And in the fashion that they won, like if that was Rodgers' stat line instead of fucking Zach Wilson, like we won't like imagine the fucking high going to work the next day. We're like, oh my God, you see that kid? Fucking Rodgers threw one at the end, like like just. But no, like I went to work the next day and it was like, yeah, we won the game and fucking Zach Wilson is my quarterback again. Like, what the fuck is this? This is not real life.
Yep. All right, but I think that's going to do it for this one. Give me a score prediction. What do you think the score of this game is? Still there, Mike?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying not to get carried away here. Fuck it. I'm going to give you the number that I first 30-20.
Okay.
30-20 Jets.
I'm going a little bit lower scoring. I'm going to say 2017. I think it's a close game, and the Jets end up pulling it out.
I'm good with either of those.
But that's going to do it for this week. Mike, we will be back most likely next week to chop up the DraftKings slate. Any final words?
Jets, Jets, baby.
There we go. So, as I said, head over to Twitter, X, have the rules up for the $50 giveaway. I will be announcing the winner before the Monday night game, so check that out. Check out yardsperfantasy.com. Check out thehelmsports.com. We'll have all my write-ups up over there. themadlabmma.com. We have the bully tool that Lab came out with. Going to be awesome. Basically help you build your lineups, check out values and projections and all that good stuff. But that's going to do it for this week. As always, thank you for listening. And remember,
just have fun out there.